What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Ari Teaches Drums. In today's episode, I'll be playing through the Blue Devils exercise Sterling. This is a video from 2014. I'm not sure how many years they played this exercise or if this was just in 14. Someone let me know in the comments. I genuinely cannot remember. I'm especially looking forward to doing this episode because one of my own instructors, Joey Staub, was in this line, and you can see they zoom right in on him. So shout out to Joey out there. He's awesome. So you just saw me play through the exercise, and now I'm gonna break down how I would approach learning it, and then also how I would approach each section of the exercise. I love this exercise because it implements so many different techniques that we really need in rudimental drumming. So I love the combination of all the different techniques that we need in this particular exercise. All right, let's get into it. For the breakdown portion, I'm gonna be at 120 beats per minute. So feel free to practice and play along. And feel free to go slower through each section as well. I encourage you to do that if you need to hit pause and practice on your own. All right, so at the beginning, we've got a full measure of legato strokes where we're just gonna rotate our wrist like we're bouncing a basketball. If you've been watching my fundamental series, I've covered legato strokes. If you haven't seen it yet, I encourage you to go on my channel and check that out. One bar of eighth note triplets on the right hand, and then a bar of eighth note triplets off the left hand. Let's play those first two measures. 1, 2. And something you can do to practice is I've got the TE Tuner metronome on, but there's a lot of metronome apps that allow you to add a subdivision. So I'm gonna add an eighth note triplet subdivision and practice with that so I can line up my rhythms directly with the subdivision. Here we go, one more time. All right, and for this, I'm trying to keep all my fingers on the stick and just guide the stick through these legato strokes, and I'm really working my wrist. I'm not trying to tense up and use my arm. It's all in the wrist. That's where it's all happening. You shouldn't really even be needing to like pull your fingers back to get these notes out. It should really just be your wrist moving. And if you're playing with traditional grip, it really is your forearm rotating on the left hand. You can think of it as your wrist, but you'll notice that the forearm is very much engaged here, and the entire forearm is rotating. All right, the next four measures are still eighth note triplets, but you'll notice they start to add an accent on each main beat. So 1, 2, 3, 4. They're adding these accents by using molar technique. So what you can see that's happening is that there's a slight kind of break in the wrist where the wrist comes up, it kind of leads the way, and then we rotate and come back down. And that whip-like motion kind of gets the stick moving, and it's a little easier to throw an accent down and then allow the stick to kind of naturally decay through the next two notes. Dun, 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 and then you ignite that motion, so to speak, and you repeat it over and over. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So if molar's new for you, again, I encourage you to check out my molar breakdown on my channel, but you could also just practice that pattern really slowly and getting that whip-like motion. All right, so let's practice the next four bars, which is just right, left, a bar of right hand molar triplets, a bar of left hand molar triplets, and then repeat. Here we go. 1, 2. The most important thing through that phrase is to lock in those triplets through that whole phrase and get the legato technique and then the change to the molar stroke. Okay, let's play the first 6 measures, so through all the eighth note triplets. Let's do it. One more time. on to the next two measures. The next two measures still is going to be using the molar stroke technique, except now we're gonna alternate between our right and left. So we're gonna do sextuplets instead of eighth note triplets. We're gonna do sextuplets. Now to do that, it's gonna be the first two notes are that molar whip-like motion, and then it's gonna naturally decay through the next three. So it's just like you're playing those eighth note triplets, but you're alternating them between your right and your left. Okay? And that left hand traditional whip, if you're playing traditional grip, if you're playing match grip with me, that's awesome. I encourage you to do that too. If you're like a tenor player, bass drummer, it's great. But for the traditional technique, it's the same type of idea with the whip motion. You're gonna allow your stick to go downward and lead with the butt of the stick. It's gonna come up and then you rotate around. That's in slow motion. So anyway, we're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Let's try it with the Met. All right, coming out of this, we go back to legato strokes, but we kind of ease up by going just to straight eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and it looks like to me they're really going for more like a forte height here, or fortissimo even. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2, 2, 3, 4, 1. So you have 4 measures of eighth notes, just playing eights. All right, and then after that, we've got accent tap. So we've got accent, or what we would call bucks in twos. So we've got accent downstroke, and then a tap, which is an upstroke. So we've got downstroke, upstroke, downstroke, upstroke, downstroke, upstroke, downstroke. And then the last one is a tap, no upstroke, because then we're gonna go to the left hand. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and etc., etc. You're gonna do that for 4 measures. So let's try all the way from the top through the bucks. Let's do it. And now I'm gonna get rid of the triplet subdivision because we're dealing with eighth notes coming out of the sextuplets. All right, and then moving forward, we have this bucks idea, and it's kind of a mirror of what we did with the molar sextuplets. We're gonna alternate the bucks. So the left-hand part is boom, 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 except it's on the E and the and then the right hand's gonna stay on the 1 and the and. So 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. We're gonna play that for 2 full measures. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1. Cool, and then coming out of that, we have huckadicks, 3s, essentially. So on the right hand, we've got 1 EN, 2 EN, 3 EN, 4 EN. Now for this, it really is essentially just 3 legato strokes, quickly. So you gotta rotate your wrist, you gotta get it moving. 1 EN, 2 EN, 3 EN, 4 EN. Maybe there's a slight decay, but you don't wanna try to do that. You shouldn't be getting this. We're not bounce stroking this really. We're trying to use our wrist, get 3 full strokes. 1 EN, 2 EN, 3 EN, 4 EN. And then we're gonna have double stops of this. So that means we're playing at the exact same time, both hands. 1 EN, 2 EN, 3 EN, 4 EN, and then to the left hand. 1 EN, 2 EN, 3 EN, 4 EN, 1 EN, 2 EN, 3 EN, 4 EN. So just work on hearing that pop sound. You really wanna hear that kind of pop that at the same time, both sticks playing at the same time. If you're getting this, that's more like a flam. We don't want to get that. And then we've got the same idea, but alternating. 1 EN, 2 EN, 4 30-second notes to an eighth note. Now the thing is, the left hand, if you think about it, is only 2 notes, because the right hand part is 1, 2, 3, and the left hand is going. So it's just on that second partial of the 32nd note and the fourth. You just gotta work on filling that left hand into the right hand threes. It's gonna take some time to get consistent with that, but that's just something you're gonna wanna practice, and you can get better from, if that's giving you trouble, just practice alternating strokes slowly going. And then cut out the next beat of it. So you go. And then cut out that other note, and you can get. And at the speed we're going, I would definitely allow those left hand notes to rebound up, and your arm wants to keep moving. Don't play them as a downstroke. Play them more like a legato, 2 legato strokes. So it should all kind of float up a bit. Let's try this section from the 8th note bucks. So 8th note bucks all the way through the 32nd notes and on the flam. Moving to the next section, we've got flam taps. All right, flam taps, just think of them as threes, where you start with a flam and you're alternating threes, because the right hand part is just this. So we're very much using that Huckadix rhythm that we were just using, and now we're alternating. So the left hand 3 starts on the and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And you just start with the flam. So 1 and, if I alternate them like this, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And you want to be very legato with your approach here. 2 full bars of flam taps, and then we've got Swiss, Swiss, flam tap Swiss, Swiss, flam tap Swiss, Swiss, flam tap Swiss, Swiss, flam tap Swiss. And I'm saying Swiss because that's a Swiss Army pattern where you have a flam followed by a right and then a left. Right, 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 left. Now, very importantly, they're keeping that third partial of the Swiss low. So that left they're keeping low. And you're going to want to let those threes decay in order to get down for a flam, essentially. So I know I was saying flam taps, keep them legato, but you want to have some decay because you want to get down for that grace note at the last note of the 3, right? So just something to keep in mind. Okay, and then we've got a bar of decrescendoing flam taps, 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. Once we get down to the low mezzo piano or piano range, we're gonna have Swiss, Swiss, flam tap Swiss, Swiss, flam tap Swiss, and repeat that bar again. So 2 bars. And notice you still wanna keep the tap notes quiet. So the third partial of those Swiss, keep it low, keep the grace notes low. And you want to allow those accents to kind of pop out as like a button on each of those rudiments. All right, and then coming out of that, we've got flam taps crescendoing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. To get us here, now, excuse the flam, we're not going to do a flam on the last note. Before we move on to the ending section, let's play that whole flam section. So starting at the flam taps. And for this, I'll throw on the 16th note subdivision. All right, and you should end on a solid, strong accent, no flam on that last one. Definitely work through that pattern real slow, and you want to see those accents, you want to see those taps, you want to see everything very defined. All right, next section, we've got 2 bars of just low legatos after this first accent. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 1. Then we have every 3/16 notes accented. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. And we have that last count brings us back to the accent on the downbeat. So you could just break those 3 bars down, going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Let's practice those 3 bars with the Met. Here we go. 1, 2. All right, so pretty straightforward. Keep those tops low. This is very much working our downstrokes, upstrokes, and tap height legatos. You want to think of those as low legato strokes. Each hand is just rebounding, and we still want a good full sound quality on those low taps, even though, yes, they are soft and dynamic. All right, this last part is essentially the same 3 measures again, except we're going to fill in all those taps with double strokes. Now the difference here is that there's a bonus 4th measure. So let's just play 3 measures and end on a low tap for that final measure, and I'll explain why in a sec. But notice that there's a pattern here. So it's the same previous 3 measures again, but fill in the low end with doubles. And to do this, my friends, you gotta work on your double strokes. Getting good quality roll at the low end. You're really gonna get your forearms working. Your arms should be pumping and moving. It should not be a only wrist stroke orientation, because it's gonna get really, really choppy really fast. So you need to engage your forearm. It's kind of, the joke is like a chicken wing, except we're not going this excessive, but very much your arm is involved to get these low doubles. Here we go. Okay, and probably the most common problem on these tap 5s is that folks are going to slur them. You're going to kind of do something like this. This is not the right approach, because we want. So if you slow it down, you should hear. You should not hear this. That would be slurring everything. That means your doubles are too open and wide. So you want to tighten them up a little bit. You got to have a little more of that downward motion to close up the space of the double. So I don't like to think of it as pinching necessarily. Some folks will say pinching, but especially with the traditional, you're not pinching. You're just perhaps pressing a little more on the with the top 2 fingers here. That's how I like to think of it sometimes. And I'm just moving my arm straight up and down to get a little, and you can just do this. Like if I move slowly, it's more open, right? But the faster I move, now it's more closed, and then I just got to get it low. And then with the right hand, kind of same idea. So I just want to get that space a little closed, a little more tight. And let's try that one more time. Okay, sweet. Last measure is just like an inversion of the prior measure. So instead of 1, and E4, a 1, we're gonna have 1, and E4, So it really is basically the same thing again, except you're just not gonna play an accent on the first note. And it's a little weird of an exercise because you're ending on the there is no downbeat. So we have 1, and E4, E, and 4, One more time. 1, and E4, and E4, Right? And remember, you're subdividing everything in 16ths. And then you're gonna end on that and that's where the exercise ends. Friends, let's try the whole thing together. You've learned Sterling. right, guys, thank you so much for joining me for my Sterling breakdown. I hope I did the Blue Devils justice by breaking down this exercise and kind of showing each section. I hope it was of help to you. If it was, please do let me know by liking, commenting, and subscribing to the channel for more. It really helps the channel. I do appreciate your guys' support. Till next time, guys, Ari Schiller out.